My name's Dr. Enoch Nageli. I'm an assistant professor in the chemical engineering program in the Department of Chemistry Life Science. This is Cadet Kenneth Brinson, Army football linebacker and semifinalist for the Campbell Trophy. In between studying distillation columns and absorption and stripping columns, he's also studying the playbook. So Kenny, tell me a little bit about how you balance academics with the military side and playing two sports.
So, obviously I think you've been a huge help to me in kind of getting my academics on track and then just kind of being there for support. I think the whole chemical engineering program does a great job of that. We got great faculty and student support. And then obviously my coaches play a role as well. They definitely make sure, first of all, I'm staying on top of my academics, but also, giving my full effort at practice and, doing what I need to do to be successful and all those things.
Great. You were able to be a semifinalist for the Campbell Trophy. Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
I think it's a true testament for all your hard work to balance academics with all the other stuff you have to do as a cadet here at West Point. Talk to me a little bit about your future goals and how do you envision using chemical engineering in the future because you're interested in medical school?
Right. So I thought my first assessment for the usefulness, I guess, of chemical engineering was like kind of an overlap between like an engineering course and then the required courses I have to take to apply for med school. Because I didn't really know what chemical engineering was, but kind of, moving throughout the process, taking your class and a bunch of other classes, it's, I guess, really informed me as to the usefulness to just be able to, model chemical processes and on the engineering side, kind of scale those processes up and just kind of be able to like take apart and analyze a system. I think that's something that's really valuable for, being a doctor, really being just a professional.
Awesome. So we did a little research over the summer.
We did.
In between building the ultimate starting five in the NBA, right, and also of all time, I should say.
All time.
And also comparing that versus Team USA's or Redeem Team, I should say pseudo-fake Dream Team. We built that, and then also you did a lot of materials work over the summer with us. So I remember we made a B-Navy solution.
We did.
The B-Navy solution was a solution of graphene, right? So how did that help you connect your AIADs and your shadowing opportunities to what you did on the benchtop?
So I think it was more of a kind of like a process analysis because we'd use the modified Hummers method. So it was kind of like a top-down like materials approach a little bit in terms of kind of getting the graphene to then go and do like kinetics testing and stuff like that. But I think the connection kind of between all those things was just like the systematic approach. Like when I shadowed a radiologist, it was kind of like the same thing. Like they have their little heuristic of like, this is what I'm looking for and like in this order. And it kind of reminded me like going through with you like, okay, this is how we characterize like this, like for catalysis and stuff like that. So I thought that was really valuable carryover and kind of nice to know that some things were the same.
Right. I'm glad we didn't have to do the Scotch tape method because we'd still be in the lab.
Glad.
It's an inside chemical engineering joke. So now let's transition to a little bit about football. In terms of all the maintaining the high GPA, doing all the responsibilities that you have to do as a cadet, how do you make time to balance what you have to do, get ready to play on Saturday with all of the work that you have to do during the week?
Well, I think it's a function of Coach Bateman and Coach Dixon, like keeping me honest and making sure, especially when I'm up there, that like that's what I'm focused on and I'm like present for practice and film study and stuff like that. So I think, they kind of forced me on that end to make sure I'm there and I'm present. And then, it's just getting back and just being like disciplined and detailed in terms of getting what I need to get done every night.
Right. So in terms of challenges, I know every aspect of academics, military, even being an athlete has different sets of challenges. What drives you every day to do all three at a high level?
I would say besides just all the support and investment people like you and my parents have put into me. It would be being surrounded by so many great people who do the same thing at a high level every day. So it's kind of like, you know, I have so many great examples around me that, you know, motivate me and keep me on the right track.
Right. LeBron versus Jordan. We always talk about this debate.
Yeah.
We spent a lot of time in the lab, actually.
We did.
Between making the Beat Navy solution.
Right.
We talked a little bit about this. Let's put that debate to rest.
I think if you're going one-on-one, you got to go LeBron, obviously, just for physical reasons. But if we're talking about making a team great, I got to go Jordan still.
Diplomatic as ever. I love it. All right. So on top of all the other areas in medicine that appeal to you, I know you did a little bit of shadowing in a surgical ward. You went to visit veterans at hospitals. Right. You looked at different areas of medicine. What appeals to you? Which part of medicine really, really drives you to be a doctor?
I think it's the patient experience, obviously. I think, you know, when you boil it all down, it's medicine is just the ability to, like, take someone's illness, someone's issue, diagnose it, characterize it, and then, you know, make that person's life better by solving in whatever way you can. And I think that's the most, you know, the human aspect is the most important part because, you know, yeah. I love numbers, I love math, I love materials. You know, you've kind of helped me with that, but I think at the end of the day, people are the most important thing.
Right, right. You used the chemical engineering pun. You said boils down.
Yes, exactly.
So the graphene work that you did, we talked a lot about how materials and to innovate, to develop new therapies, you still need an answer for materials.
Right.
So how do you think you can bridge that gap in the future?
So what I kind of envision as my path is, you know, getting that first person experience with the issues and the problems with like the biology and like the interface between, you know, things like implants and stuff like that and the immune response, kind of like we discussed. You know, being able to fully like kind of experience that real time, and then, you know, maybe at some point going back to do some materials development to kind of, you know, work on, you know, managing that immune response.
Right.
So in terms of stuff like that, I got to go back to the drawing board and do a little research.
Yeah.
Like you taught me about how I actually want to combat that. But you know, I'm really encouraged and interested in trying to find that solution.
Cool. So, favorite class you took at the academy?
I mean, I might have to go separations. You know, it's kind of.
Feel like you're on the spot. That's
yeah,
why.
No, it's no. I really did enjoy separations. Actually, all the chemical engineering like core courses have been, you know, challenging, but definitely really interesting. So, you know, I'll stick with separations.
Awesome.
CH363.
Shout out to everybody.
Shout out. Shout out.
If you were to take this to be your career in medicine, connecting it to engineering, through all of the experiences you've had with the shadowing, with the benchtop research, what aspect of healthcare do you think you can make the biggest impact in the future?
I think what I see is kind of my area of you know, hopefully expertise at some point, and then impact would be on the clinical side, and then transitioning to research and development at some point.
That's fantastic. Yeah,
that would be that's kind of where I see myself fitting in at this point. You know, hopefully that I can actualize that, but that's where I see it at this stage.
Did you always dream about being a doctor?
Well, you know, there's the NFL thing, and then but yeah, I think probably about 12. Me and my sister had some crazy stuff about she wanted to be like a pilot and a clown. I was like, well, those kind of sound cool, so maybe I'll do something like that. And I was like, no, I think being a doctor would be really cool.
Okay. So we did a little barbecue and ice cream over the summer.
We did.
So, favorite food? If you had to pick.
If I had to pick, I'm gonna go hot wings.
Hot wings, okay.
You know, the ribs we had were insane. Those were really good. Probably a close second.
Right. Okay. You're being a linebacker. There are a lot of great players who came through at the academy. There's also people we've talked about in the NFL, college football. How has your problem-solving skills you've learned at West Point, and also through the Thayer model, how has that helped you translate that to being effective on the field?
I think if I guess I'll address the Thayer model and method first. Kind of self-preparation to like prepare like as a team, like in class, kind of asking questions. I think that's just like put an emphasis on, you know, what can I do like outside of what we normally do up there to like succeed. And, you know, Coach Dixon has kind of, you know, facilitated that. They have this huge like store of like film and stuff. So, you know, they provide you with a lot of resources to like prepare yourself outside of practice and normal hours. In terms of problem solving, I mean, sometimes I think too much, but I think it's just, I think the thing about being a good problem solver is like after you've solved a few things, it's like you develop this confidence in kind of what you look for in terms of how am I going to get from my question to my answer. So I think that's, you know, that plays out in every aspect of life. So I think in some ways that's informed in kind of how I play and try to prepare.
Great. You ever in the middle of a play think about a chemical engineering problem?
I have not actually. No, I've never thought about a chemical engineering problem.
Right.
Maybe I'll try that practice or something.
Not during the game.
No, not during the game.
Yeah,
not during
practice.
the game.
My name's Dr. Enoch Nageli. This is Cadet Kenneth Brinson, Army football linebacker and semifinalist for the Campbell Trophy. Go Army.
Beat Navy.